Right now, President Trump is on his way back to the White House after his three-country tour of Asia. On the final leg of his trip, the president held a high-stakes meeting with China's President Xi Jinping. This was their first face-to-face since 2019 and comes after months of clashes over trade and tariffs. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, the president characterized the meeting as a success.
I thought it was an amazing meeting. He's a great leader of a very powerful, very strong country, China. And what can I say? We have, it was an outstanding group of decisions, I think, that was made.
For more, let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Willie, good to see you. Following his meeting with Xi, President Trump announced the U.S. will reduce tariffs on Chinese goods. What more do we know about the deal, and what is China offering in return?
Hey there, Lindsay. Good to see you as well. President Trump announcing that across-the-board tariff, which includes those tariffs responding to the fentanyl crisis, would be 47%, going down from 57%. Now, this certainly is perhaps a welcome change for the Chinese, but still significantly high in terms of tariff rates when you compare China to other nations around the world. So the president also in this deal making that he was able to come about with President Xi, compelled the Chinese to buy more soybeans. In fact, millions of metric tons of soybeans will be purchased by the Chinese, perhaps welcome news for farmers across the United States. But there are questions in terms of whether or not it's enough. On top of that, you have a deal of sorts for critical minerals, or for the Chinese not to institute export controls for refined materials after they are refined from critical minerals. So certainly that is welcome news for the Americans. So a lot of deal making here in terms of the final signed, sealed, delivered a date, and that is yet to be determined, but we anticipate that will happen in the coming days, though, Lindsay.
China also said it's working to resolve issues with TikTok. So we know that this morning U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said China approved a TikTok transfer deal. What more do we know?
Yeah, and the White House isn't telegraphing many details about this. Remember, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said earlier this week that both leaders would sit down, and that would indeed call for the final deal, if you will, with TikTok. Remember, this is a private transaction that will take place. The U.S. is, of course, helping facilitate these conversations in large part because the U.S. government was set to ban TikTok, and President Trump has kicked the can down the road, so to speak, and signed executive action that would give some of the room for these private entities and investors to handle this TikTok deal. But the Treasury Secretary at least conveying that a final deal is coming in the next several days. The Chinese, of course, also conveying that they will work with the United States for a deal on TikTok, and certainly millions of TikTok users across the United States see that as welcome news because there was a brief period earlier this year when the TikTok app went dark on the app stores. That, of course, no longer is the case, but we are still wait and see in terms of what happens with the U.S. entity, the U.S. part of TikTok, when it's created and when that deal is finalized, Lindsay.
Okay, Willie, thank you.